First of all, we started AudioNet that turned into Broadcast.com in 1995. So I started streaming in 1995. Nothing that started in 1995 is still new. It's off to college now. So having been involved in streaming and technology for so long, I try to take an objective look. And if you look at what YouTube or any streamer does, they take a content source, they encode it, they put it out via digital, and it goes to an end device. How's that any different than television? What you see on television is basically streaming. The difference is when you put it out over the internet's designed for everything but video. Television is designed for video. And I think over the past 17 years, we've gotten so internet-centric that we forget that the technology is moving just as quickly, if not faster, on the internet side. And then people look at it and say, well, look at the Time Warners, the DirecTV, the dishes, et cetera, the telcos, Verizon and AT&T, they're stupid, right? They're not going to do it right. They always get it wrong. Well, again, the kids that were 22 years old when we started AudioNet are now 40 years old and in management positions. There's no more stupidity about the internet where you think, if just because you're online, all the traditional media companies are at a disadvantage. They're not. And what I'll tell you is that television has a huge advantage in the social media world. Why?
Why?
Because, I'm glad you asked. You know what zero latency is? Zero latency is when everybody experiences the same thing at the same time, right? Does everybody here have perfect wireless at home?
No.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Everybody's TV work when you turn it on?
Yes.
Yeah. See, the thing about zero latency on television, everybody sees the same thing pretty much at the same time. Maybe not instantaneously at the same time, but you all share at the same time. And now that we're sitting with our devices on our couches with, it used to be our hand was on our pants and one hand was on a beer, but now we've got one or two hands on a device. And we're tweeting and we're posting to whatever our social media is. And we're using television as the instigator for all that. So now television, because it's zero latency, has become the starting point for conversations. The reality is, when you watch on television, when you watch a Mavs game, when you watch Shark Tank, when you watch Access TV and we're broadcasting a live concert, it's a unique experience that you can't get online. So if Access TV, if we're broadcasting Aerosmith, like we did a few weeks ago, we had the people with the band tweeting, we had people at the concert, we're handing them postcards and stuff saying tweet to the people watching, and we had the people watching tweeting, and that created a unique experience. Yeah. Now think about Gangnam Style. 1 billion people watched that online. Everybody here watch Gangnam Style?
Yeah.
Did you talk to anybody while you did it? Do you know any two people that engaged with each other while they were watching? It's such a different experience. Then you take the next part. There might be 300 channels and nothing on, but like we were talking earlier, you could put something on the smallest TV network in the middle of the night, and you're going to get more views than any video that you put online without a ton of promotion. And so television has become the medium for starting the social conversation that more people participate in than any other medium. And the reality is, by the time you watched it on YouTube, you already missed it.
So let's talk a little bit about Access TV. And if you want to tweet during this, you can tweet ASXTV or at MCuban or at Poppy Harlow CNN. But let's talk about Access. Just give people the 30-second elevator pitch. What is it? Because then I want you to talk about cable nevers and why you were targeting what you call cable nevers with this.
We used to be HDNet, and we took advantage of the fact that 12 years ago, we saw these high-def televisions that cost $20,000, and everybody said they're too expensive. I said, no, they're just like a PC. They'll follow that same price-performance curve. They'll take off at some point. Now, I screwed up in that they took off faster than I expected them to, and I got caught that HDNet high-def wasn't enough anymore. So we rebranded to Access TV for all the reasons I just mentioned. That I think that there's such a transition right now to television as being the starting point for social conversations. We wanted to be there. And how do you be there, and what is the greatest instigator for social conversations? Live events. Hence Access, AXS, AXS.TV, access to live events, in particular music, concerts, and other live events, because it starts the conversation.
They're working on possible partnership with Live Nation right now. They're talking.
We're already a partner with AEG. We're talking to Live Nation. Ryan Seacrest, not on air, but as a creative partner, is an equity partner. We're talking to other folks. I mean, it's just
Direct, Dish, CAA, all in this.
All you know, Direct and Dish aren't equity partners. They're distribution partners, as are Verizon, Charter, et cetera, et cetera. Everybody but Time Warner, Cox, and Cablevision. So please call them, email them,
and tell them. Well, can we talk about that? Because I was at home trying to watch, and I can't because I live in New York City and I have Time Warner Cable.
Sure.
Big challenge there is getting on.
No question. Look, everybody knows right now, they saw what happened with Ovation. It's tough to be an independent network. You know, it's not easy. We can't go in there and say, look, in order to get, you know, this big network, MTV, you got to take all these crappy little networks. Mm-hmm. I don't have any big networks, and I don't have any crappy little networks to make up the money on, and so I'm stuck. But that goes back, you were talking about cable nevers. One of the reasons we went to live, you know, our tagline at AXS TV is live live, live, live live. And one of the reasons is because I think social interaction around TV is going to get so much bigger than it is now. Remember, not even 30% of the US population is on Twitter. And while they're on Facebook, even a smaller percentage, or Pinterest or any other, you know, Tumblr, whatever, even a smaller percentage are actively using it real time with media. So those numbers are only going to grow. And so all those folks who, you know, after they graduated from school, didn't have a job, moved in with their folks, then all of a sudden got a job and weren't used to having cable, those were the cable nevers. They moved into an apartment with 18 friends and decided not to spend money on cable. Well, by going in the programming direction that we did, not only do we think that we're going to have a unique solution to start the conversation in social media, but we think we're going to be a solution for cable nevers, because if you want to watch that Tiesto concert or the Skrillex concert live on AXS TV, or the Jay-Z concert, whatever it is, live on AXS TV, you got to get cable. And if you want to be part of the conversation that all your friends with cable are part of on Twitter, Facebook, whatever social media, right, you've got to have cable. And so much like we saw kind of the future with HDNet, with high definition television, we really think, I'm positive, I'm not even, you know, I don't have even a little bit of doubt that television is going to be the launching point for social media for the cable nevers. And to be part of that conversation, you'll have to have TV. And again, by the time it's online, even streamed live stuff, it's too late. But
there is so much money being funneled right now into over-the-top, basically, technology. So something we were just talking about, you said, oh, you know, it's not worth it. Aereo, Barry Diller putting money into Aereo, for example. There's a lot of these out there that are getting millions and millions. That just got $38 million in Series B funding. It's expanding to 22 cities, and you're not a believer.
I mean, the guys at Aereo are smart. I met with them. They're super smart.
Them and the rest of it.
Well, over the top, look, like I just said, whose wireless works? You know, we used to talk about the last mile. Now we got to talk about where's the microwave in your apartment. You know, or where are things set up? You know, how is your router configured?
Okay, but let's say we get over that technology barrier.
How are you going to get over it?
I'm not the one who fixes that. But let's say we do, right?
Again, look, wireless isn't new, right? It'll get better, it'll get faster, it'll get this, it'll get that, right? And people are going to be very tolerant. Just like, you know, I was wrong on HD, where I thought people actually wanted to get a high definition signal. Yeah. And just, you know, if it was on an HD channel, even though it was standard definition, it looks worse on HD, people didn't care because they thought they were getting HD. So, you know, people are willing to accept less quality. But at the same time, you know, we are so internet-centric in everything that we do over the past almost 20 years, people just assume that a solution is going to come from the internet. When in reality, it's a race, because the technology is the same. The way Time Warner or Charter or Verizon or whatever delivers video online is just a controlled network versus an open network in the air, but they use all the same stuff, basically. And so there's not, you know, trying to go over the top because you create more networks and you create more choice, that's great. But when you have unlimited choice, you also have unlimited expense to try to have your content come to the front. And like I said earlier, we can put something on in the middle of the night on AXS TV and get 100,000 views over the course of a show, right?
Which I would die for.
You would die for 100.
Video.
Yeah, you would die for that, right? And then you look at what YouTube. Look, YouTube's a great company. They're doing a lot of great things. Their automated content recognition stuff is amazing, but in reality, they're no different than any other gatekeeper / network. You know, they just cut Reuters. They cut some other news outlets that were, you know, they cut 60%. How's that any different than any programming exec at a network? You know, there's a reason why YouTube had to spend all that money to get content, because they don't know what's going to work.
What about mobile, though?
Mobile's great, you know, but what about it? I mean, look, the reason you watch on your mobile is because that's your only access to it.
Right.
And until there's a whole lot more spectrum to do a whole lot more with, or a lot better radio technology, or actually there's some neat radio technologies coming, but they have to go a lot further. You know, what are you going to do?
But I want to push you on that, because sharing. I can't share from my television set to your television set. If something really stands out to me from CNN that we've streamed online and I want to share it, I'm going to share it mobily. But
you know what? You just hit the nail on the head. You're going to share it mobily while you're watching television, right? One is the instigator, one is a fulfillment. And so this guy is your second screen. And everybody wants to talk about these great second screen apps. Look what this guy's doing. Look what this guy's doing. Twitter, email, texting, Snapchat, whatever, everything works already. There's a zillion second screen apps that are competing for your attention, and they already work. You always have to remember what the definition of television is. And I think some of the over-the-top guys forget this. The definition of television is the best alternative to boredom.